Hello everyone. Now we are going to discuss new viral infection or new viral zoonotic disease. Name of this disease is yellow fever. What is yellow fever? It is acute viral infection. It is caused by yellow fever virus and it is transmitted by infected Aedes mosquito. Clinically, the spectrum of yellow fever, it varies from subclinical infection to mild infection, or it may be self-limited infection in majority of cases. At the same time, it can be very severe or fulminating disease with fatal outcome. Now, classical yellow fever, it is characterized by sudden onset of moderately high grade fever. There is prostration, nausea, vomiting, and vomiting it is of altered blood, which is called as black vomit. There is jaundice, oliguria, and albuminuria. This virus, that is yellow fever virus, it mainly affects monkeys and other vertebrate hosts. How this virus is transmitted to humans? This virus, it is transmitted to humans by bites of infected Aedes mosquito. This Aedes, it is a name of genus, and this Aedes belongs to the tribe Culicine mosquito. So even some authors, they refer transmission of this disease is from Culicine mosquito. But Culicine mosquito includes other genera also. So from Culicine tribe, it is only Aedes which is responsible for transmission of yellow fever virus. Now the clinical picture, how you can compare, it is similar with other hemorrhagic fevers. So clinical picture of yellow fever, you find similarity of this picture with dengue fever, with Lassa virus fever, or with other viral hemorrhagic fevers. But what is the differentiating feature? In yellow fever, there is hepatic involvement, there is renal involvement, and involvement of kidneys and liver, it is severe involvement. So there is severe jaundice, and patient develops albuminuria, anuria, and plus, as we said, as it shows similarity with hemorrhagic fever. So what hemorrhagic manifestations we can see in yellow fever? So it includes epistaxis, it includes melena, it includes black vomit, and finally the patient enters into stuporous or comatose condition, shock, and death occurs in majority of cases. So this is about introduction to yellow fever. Important thing to remember is name of virus, yellow fever virus, and the vector which is responsible for its transmission. As we said, it is Aedes mosquito, and the clinical spectrum where you should not forget there is involvement of liver and there is involvement of kidneys, which may lead to various dangerous manifestations, and the disease may prove fatal in majority of cases. Along with this, hemorrhagic manifestations are important because yellow fever is example of hemorrhagic viral fevers. Now let's see problem statement. This disease, that is yellow fever, it is mainly confined to Africa and to Latin America. In Africa, there are about 32 countries where 508 million people, they are at risk of yellow fever. Whereas in Latin America, there are about 13 countries. Important countries, it includes Brazil, Peru, Colombia, etc. So people residing in these areas, they are also having risk of developing yellow fever. Now, as per estimates, global estimates, which was given in previous edition, 2 lakh cases occurs every year, and 30,000 deaths are reported globally each year. But as per recent statistics, this is not very recent statistics which is given in 25th edition. In the year 2013, estimated cases, we are talking about global estimation, 84,000 to 1,70,000, and deaths were reported which varies from 29,000 to 60,000. What are the areas where major epidemics of yellow fever have been recorded? So these epidemics have been recorded in Ethiopia, in Nigeria, in Gambia, in Ghana, and in Kenya. Now, what is the scenario in Asia? Yellow fever has not been reported in Asia. So, as far as India is concerned, yellow fever does not exist in India, but India, it is epidemiologically yellow fever receptive area. Now, what is meaning of yellow fever receptive area? It means an area in which yellow fever does not exist. But if yellow fever is introduced, the conditions are favorable for the development of this disease. Why this is so? There are various reasons. So, in case if yellow fever virus is introduced in country like India, there may be development of many cases of yellow fever. The reasons are Indian population, it is susceptible to yellow fever, as Indian population is not vaccinated against yellow fever. Second, its vector, that is Aedes aegypti, it is present in a large population, or we can say abundance presence of vector Aedes aegypti. At the same time, in India, climatic conditions are favorable for transmission of yellow fever disease. And another important factor is the monkey which are present in India is susceptible to yellow fever. So basically in nature, the chain it is maintained between monkey, Aedes aegypti and man. So details of this chain we are going to study in transmission. So at this point just try to understand is the monkeys are present in India which are susceptible to yellow fever virus. So all these conditions are favorable. So as far as chain of transmission is concerned, there are many things which are present in India. The most important missing link is virus of yellow fever. It is not present in India. So if it gets introduced, the condition may become worse in India. So this is about yellow fever receptive area. India we describe as yellow fever receptive area. Currently virus is not present in India, but how virus may get introduced into India? There are possibilities like the virus may be imported to India through infected international travelers. Second possibility is through infected mosquitoes. So mosquitoes can arrive from aircraft or ships from endemic areas. So two possibilities we said is infected international travelers, and second possibility is through infected mosquitoes. Let's see epidemiological determinants of yellow fever. Epidemiological determinants, it includes agent factor. Agent, as you know, it is yellow fever virus. So this virus belongs to group B arbovirus, or it is flavivirus belonging to the family Flaviviridae. What is a reservoir of infection? Most important reservoirs, it includes monkeys. Next, it includes mosquitoes, which are mainly present in forest areas. And the genus of mosquito, it's Aedes, and species is Aedes aegypti. So, reservoir from mosquito is Aedes aegypti. Monkeys, at the same time, man is also reservoir. So, man, it includes clinical cases and subclinical cases. So, in reservoir, we are having triad. So, animal reservoirs are there like monkey, insect or vector reservoirs, mosquito, and human reservoirs, that is man, clinical cases or subclinical cases of yellow fever. What is period of communicability for this disease? Period of communicability, it is seen in first 3 to 4 days of illness, or simply it is initial 3-4 days of illness, because this is the stage of viremia. And when mosquito, if they take blood meal during this viremia stage, mosquito may get infected, and mosquito remains infective throughout their life. In case if environmental conditions are not favorable, like say for example dry season, it is extended, or susceptible host, they are not present in the environment, then in mosquito transoviarial transmission is seen. What are the host factors? Host factors, as far as age and gender is concerned, as you know, Indians, they do not have immunity. So all age groups and both sexes are susceptible to yellow fever. What is relation of yellow fever with occupation? Those persons who are working in areas with the forest, or who are visiting to the forest frequently, they have higher risk. So examples, it includes woodcutters, hunters, or even the people who take their cattle for grazing. All these people, they are having higher risk of yellow fever in those areas where yellow fever is found in endemic pattern. Let's talk about host factor immunity. Immunity, the infants which are born to immune mother, they show resistance to infection for the period of about first 6 months of their life. So simply it is infants during initial months of life, they are immune. Those people who suffers from natural infection, they acquires lifelong immunity, and after vaccination immunity is acquired, which also remains for longer time. Now, what are environmental factors related with yellow fever? Environmental factors for multiplication of the virus inside the vector, that is for multiplication of yellow fever virus inside Aedes aegypti mosquito, temperature of 24 degrees Celsius or above is required. So this is for development of agent inside the vector. Another part is for completion of entire lifespan of infected mosquito, relative humidity of about 60% is essential. Now let's see what are the social factors that are related with yellow fever disease. The social factors we are talking in Africa. So in Africa, it is related with urbanization, and it is related with the expanding population. Now what happens? The expanded population in Africa, they encroached the jungle areas. So this increased the contact of man with the two reservoirs which are present in forest or which are present in jungles. So it includes monkeys and it includes wild mosquitoes. This is one of the important factor related to yellow fever disease. Another important thing is people who travel from endemic areas to receptive areas. What can be their role? Such people may carry virus or they may play major role in transporting the virus. Mode of transmission of yellow fever. As far as yellow fever is concerned, its transmission, it is described in three different types of cycles. So for modes of transmission, we are going to discuss about three cycles. So first cycle, it is forest cycle or it is also known as jungle cycle. Second cycle is called as intermediate cycle, and third cycle, it is called as urban cycle. Jungle cycle, also called as forest cycle, it is also called as sylvatic cycle. So this cycle, it is mainly seen in tropical rain forests. Now what happens, how this cycle is maintained in nature? Infection occurs in monkeys. The mosquitoes, specifically these are wild mosquitoes which feeds on infected monkeys, they acquires infection, and these wild mosquitoes further spreads infection to monkeys. At the same time, those persons who enter the forest, they transmit infection to such human beings. So do you understand jungle cycle? So basically, a reservoir, important reservoir here is monkeys. From monkeys, infection is transmitted to wild mosquitoes. Wild mosquitoes transmits infection commonly to monkeys. But if from forest areas, jungle areas, human passes these areas, so those humans which enters in the forest, wild mosquitoes can transmit infection to such persons, and these people may acquire yellow fever infection. So this is jungle cycle. Second cycle, it is intermediate cycle. Now what happens in intermediate cycle? Outbreaks of yellow fever or epidemics of yellow fever, they occur in certain parts of Africa. These are mainly humid parts and semi-humid parts of Africa. In this cycle, semi-domestic mosquitoes are infected. Semi-domestic mosquitoes are those mosquitoes which breed in forest areas also, and which breed around household areas also. So these are called as semi-domestic mosquitoes. Such semi-domestic mosquitoes, they infect monkeys as well as they infect humans. What is important factor which is responsible for transmission of yellow fever in intermediate cycle? Increased contact between people and between infected mosquitoes is the most important factor leading to transmission of yellow fever in intermediate cycle. We said in Africa there are certain parts where outbreaks are reported, and such outbreaks may get converted into severe epidemic. So when such possibility is there, if vector population is increased, if there is abundant semi-domestic mosquitoes, and if susceptible population is more, that is unvaccinated people are more. So in such situations, and if there is increased man-vector contact, outbreak may get converted into severe epidemic. This is intermediate cycle. So keyword in intermediate cycle is semi-domestic mosquitoes. Infection spreads to monkeys and humans from semi-domestic mosquitoes. Third cycle, it is urban cycle, or it is also known as urban yellow fever. This cycle is very simple to understand. Majority of times we have studied this cycle. So this is man to man transmission, or it is person to person transmission, and vector involved is Aedes aegypti mosquito. So urban cycle will involve transmission of yellow fever virus from infected persons, the persons which are infected with yellow fever virus, to the susceptible population, and intermediate link or the middle link of transmission is the vector, bites of infected Aedes aegypti vector. Now even in urban areas, large epidemics can occur. When there is possibility that epidemics can occur in urban areas, so first thing is infected person, if they introduce yellow fever virus into densely populated areas, and in these densely populated areas, if susceptible population is present or non-vaccinated population is present in large number, and at the same time if large number of Aedes aegypti mosquitoes are present. So if this situation is there, epidemics can occur. So these are three important cycles that we talk: jungle cycle, intermediate cycle, and urban cycle. Now let's proceed further and see what is the clinical picture, what clinical features we can get in yellow fever. Incubation period is 3 days to 6 days. Regarding spectrum, this spectrum may vary. At one end there can be subclinical cases, then very mild cases, then next part in spectrum can be mild cases, moderately severe cases, and end of spectrum will be fatal disease. Epidemiological types of yellow fevers, they are described as urban yellow fever and jungle yellow fever. Clinical features of these epidemiological types, that is urban yellow fever and jungle yellow fever or sylvatic yellow fever, it does not differ. So clinical picture remains same in both these epidemiological types. Now let's see as per spectrum. Very mild cases, they have fever, headache, and such cases they recovers in less than 48 hours or simply within 2 days. These cases, that is very mild cases of yellow fever, will get recovered. Mild cases, they have fever which is associated with headache. There can be nausea. Even in mild cases, hemorrhagic manifestations can be there. These manifestations may be epistaxis or bleeding from gums. Renal involvement may be manifested as albuminuria, and recovery of such cases occurs within 2 to 3 days. Next part in the spectrum is moderately severe cases. Moderately severe cases, they have fever. Fever is associated with bradycardia. There is marked bleeding. Hemorrhagic manifestation includes marked bleeding. Black vomit is important thing. Melena, liver involvement, it is manifested by jaundice, and renal involvement is manifested by albuminuria. Duration of moderately severe cases. So these cases may require 1 week or more than 1 week period for their recovery. Now the last part is the severe cases, or these are also called as malignant cases. Severe cases, they have temperature which is 40 degrees Celsius or above. They may have GIT manifestations like abdominal pain, nausea, vomiting, and hemorrhages. Hemorrhages, as we said, there can be black vomit or there can be epistaxis. Liver involvement manifested by jaundice. Renal involvement, there can be albuminuria or oliguria, or even there can be anuria. Cardiac manifestations are very important. Patient develops hypotension and cardiac arrhythmia. These patients may enter into comatose state, and if death occurs, generally death occurs between 7th and 10th day of illness. So what, to summarize, clinical syndrome of yellow fever, predominantly it may consist of either hepatic failure, renal failure, cardiac failure, or meningoencephalitis. Generally, lungs are not involved, but few cases may develop bacterial pneumonia. How to diagnose these cases? What laboratory findings will help us in diagnosis? Laboratory findings are leukopenia, thrombocytopenia. If you advise BTCT, your observation will be prolongation of bleeding time and prolongation of clotting time. At the same time, prothrombin time is decreased. In a liver function test, bilirubin level is elevated, aminotransferases are elevated, BSL findings, hypoglycemia, sugar level is reduced, there is albuminuria, so it can be 3 to 5 milligram per liter or even higher in severe cases. You can find increased level of blood urea, increased level of creatinine, and as we said, cardiac failure can be there. One of the important investigation is ECG or cardiac monitoring of patient. ECG may show prolonged QT interval, prolonged PR interval, or abnormalities of T wave. These are the laboratory findings. At the same time, other tests can help us in diagnosis. These tests, it includes isolation of virus. A sample for this can be blood, and it should be collected during initial stage of illness. As we said, viremia is seen in early stage of illness. RT-PCR test can be done. ELISA test can be done. Indirect immunofluorescence test is helpful for diagnosis, and serological test is detection of IgM antibodies in initial stages of illness. So these are various laboratory investigations that can be done, and what findings you can get on lab investigations that we have seen. How to differentiate yellow fever from other conditions, or what important other conditions you should have to keep in mind while dealing with cases of yellow fever. So most important, as we said, there is jaundice. The condition you should have to keep in your mind is viral hepatitis. Jaundice we can also get in cases of leptospirosis. So remember leptospirosis, rickettsial fevers and other hemorrhagic fevers. Hemorrhagic fevers, it mainly includes dengue hemorrhagic fever for differential diagnosis and chikungunya hemorrhagic fever for differential diagnosis. In both these conditions, arthralgia is marked. One more condition that should be differentiated, it is falciparum malaria, or it is complicated malaria. As in complicated malaria, there can be jaundice. So for jaundice, whatever different conditions are there, you should have to keep in mind for differential diagnosis of yellow fever. What is prognosis of cases of yellow fever? The prognosis of severe cases of yellow fever is generally worse because it is highly fatal disease, and this case fatality rate in case of severe cases of yellow fever may be up to 80%. Treatment of yellow fever cases. There is no specific treatment for these cases. The treatment is based on the presentation of the case and it generally includes supportive care. Urban yellow fever control measures, it includes vaccination, it includes control of vector and surveillance. Vaccination, vaccine which is available is called as 17D vaccine. This is live attenuated vaccine. As we are saying, it is 17D vaccine. This vaccine, it is prepared from non-virulent strain, and name of this non-virulent strain is 17D. This vaccine, it is prepared in chick embryo. Now since it is prepared in chick embryo, contraindication for this vaccine is all those people who are showing allergy to egg proteins. They should not be given this vaccine. How this vaccine is available? This vaccine, it is available in freeze dried form. Since it is available in dried form, it's important to reconstitute this vaccine before its administration. Reconstitution, it is done with the diluent which is provided along with vaccine. After reconstitution, vaccine should be protected against sunlight and it should be used within half an hour. 0.5 ml dose, it is given subcutaneously in the deltoid. As per recommendation of World Health Organization, revaccination of international travelers should be done after every 10 years. What is protective effect of this vaccine? After vaccination, immunity starts on 7th day and duration of immunity, it is lifelong. What reactions can occur after giving yellow fever vaccine? After administration of yellow fever vaccine, about 2 to 5% vaccinee, they may develop fever which is associated with headache and myalgia. And this fever or these symptoms may be reported within 5 to 10 days of vaccination, and rarely anaphylaxis can occur. Anaphylaxis, it is generally seen in those individuals who are allergic to egg proteins. What are contraindications for this vaccine? Contraindications for this vaccine, it includes, it should not be given to children below the age of 9 months or during epidemic 6 months. This vaccine should not be given to pregnant women. This vaccine should not be given to persons having allergy to egg proteins. This vaccine should not be given to AIDS patient. This vaccine should not be given to persons with thymus disorders. These are few contraindications to yellow fever vaccination. Second approach in control of urban yellow fever is vector control. Objective of vector control is to reduce vector population and to break the chain of transmission. Regarding vector control measures, three important measures are there. One is anti-larval measures, where we can use mineral oils and larvicides, anti-adult measures, which includes indoor residual spraying and space spraying, and personal protection, which includes use of mosquito coils, bed nets, repellents, etc. And most important is environmental control, that is source reduction, which includes elimination of breeding places of Aedes mosquito. Third part in control is surveillance. Surveillance, it is recommended in those countries where yellow fever is found in endemic pattern. This surveillance, it includes different types, that is clinical surveillance, serological surveillance. It further includes histopathological surveillance, plus it includes entomological surveillance. Now for entomological surveillance, the most important index which is used is Aedes aegypti index. What is meaning of this Aedes aegypti index, or how it is calculated? It includes percentage of house and their premises in a defined geographic area, which shows breeding of Aedes aegypti. This index, it should not be more than 1% in towns and in seaports in endemic areas. So do you understand how this index is calculated? So total number of houses, out of these total number of houses in particular geographic area, how many houses are showing presence of breeding of Aedes mosquito? This is Aedes aegypti index. Regarding yellow fever receptive area, already we have discussed and we said India is yellow fever receptive area. What is meaning of it? It means the disease is not present in this area, but if it is introduced, it may permit development of the disease, because for the development conditions are favorable. There are certain international measures which are taken for prevention of yellow fever. These international measures are part of international health regulations, that is IHR. These regulations, they are enforced for airways, they are enforced to shipping, or simply these are the traffic regulations related with international travel. Now, most important part of IHR, that is international health regulation, it includes all the travelers before they entering into yellow fever receptive area like India, they must have valid international certificate of vaccination against yellow fever. Here, travelers, they mainly includes those exposed to the risk of yellow fever, those passing through endemic zones of yellow fever, and travelers including infants. If such certificate is not available with the traveler is placed on quarantine in mosquito proof area for 6 days. Those travelers without certification, for them quarantine of 6 days is essential. Another important part in control of yellow fever, it includes mosquito measures, that is destruction of vector mosquito, where it is essential, as we said, कि vectors which are infected, they can carry virus, yellow fever virus, to India or the yellow fever receptive areas. Possibility is from aircrafts and from ships which are arriving from endemic areas to receptive areas. So at such places, aerosol spraying and space spraying is essential. And why it is essential? To keep Aedes aegypti index below 1. Just now we talked about international certificate of vaccination. For travelers, it is essential that they should have this international certificate of vaccination. Validity of this certificate, it is for 10 years and it begins 10 days after the date of vaccination. Validity of certificates, it starts 10 days after vaccination and it extends up to 10 years. But remember, in the year 2005, amendment was done in International Health Regulation 2005. This amendment was adopted by World Health Assembly, and this amended criteria or this amendment, it came into force from 11th July 2016. What is important thing to understand is what is the amendment. Amendment is related to the validity of international certification of vaccination. Initially we said validity was for 10 years, but as per this new amendment, validity, it is lifetime. So whatever certificates after 2016 are issued, they are having lifetime validity. In addition, it is important to understand that as per the new recommendation, revaccination of yellow fever vaccine or booster dose of yellow fever vaccine is not recommended for all international travelers irrespective of their date of previous immunization, provided that the certificate of immunization is issued after 11th July 2016. What strategy is adopted by Government of India? So Government of India adopted the lifetime validity. So as per the new recommendation, lifetime validity of yellow fever vaccination is applicable in India. Regarding yellow fever, we should know one more thing, that is, what are the different countries where yellow fever is endemic. So we will see the countries in Africa and countries in Americas. First we will see list of few countries in Africa. It includes Angola, Burundi, Cameroon, Chad, Congo, Democratic Republic of the Congo, Ethiopia, Gambia, Ghana, Liberia, Kenya, Mali, Nigeria, Senegal, Sierra, Sudan, South Sudan, and still others. Yellow fever endemic countries in Americas includes Argentina, Bolivia, Brazil, Colombia, Panama, Peru, Venezuela, etc. At this point, it is important to understand that when a case of yellow fever is reported from any country, that country is regarded as a country with a risk of yellow fever transmission, and the government of India adds this country to the list of yellow fever endemic countries. Epidemic preparedness and response. Now we will try to understand what recommendations are given by World Health Organization regarding preparedness for yellow fever epidemic and how to respond to the epidemic of yellow fever. So, as per the recommendation of World Health Organization, every at-risk country should have at least one national laboratory where basic yellow fever blood tests can be performed. The guideline for considering outbreak of yellow fever, it includes identification of a confirmed case of yellow fever, specifically in non-vaccinated people. So, if outbreak occurs and if there is confirmed case of yellow fever, such case or cases must be thoroughly investigated, and this investigation, it is carried out by investigation teams. So what is responsibility of these investigation teams? Responsibility of the investigation team or teams is that they must thoroughly investigate the confirmed cases of yellow fever. In addition, it is their responsibility to respond to the outbreak. Now, how to respond to the outbreak? It includes two important strategies. First strategy is emergency vaccination campaigns. So these teams, they should carry out or they should conduct emergency vaccination campaigns. And the second strategy is preparation of long-term immunization plans. We will try to understand one more strategy. It is I strategy. So here I is abbreviation which stands for the elimination of yellow fever epidemic. So I strategy, it is concerned with elimination of yellow fever epidemic. This strategy was developed by World Health Organization and UNICEF. Why this strategy was developed? I strategy was developed in response to the increased threat of yellow fever outbreaks in urban areas and international spread of yellow fever. I strategy has three objectives. First objective is protection of at-risk populations. Second strategy is prevention of international spread of yellow fever. And third strategy is rapid containment of outbreaks. In order to achieve these outbreaks, the countries or the nations, they have certain competencies. Like the most important thing is availability of vaccine. So yellow fever vaccine, it should be available and it should be affordable. Another important thing is there should be strong political commitment, and this commitment should be at different levels like regional level or country level or even at global level. In addition, there should be high level of governance and long-term partnerships. Synergies with other health programs and other sectors is essential. And last but not the least, the most important competency, it includes research and development related with yellow fever. Recap of yellow fever. Yellow fever is zoonotic disease which is caused by an arbovirus which mainly affects monkeys and other vertebrates in tropical America and Africa. The disease is transmitted by certain culisine mosquitoes, and the clinical picture is similar to other viral hemorrhagic fever, and it is characterized by severe hepatic and renal involvement. Prognosis of severe cases of yellow fever is not good, and case fatality rate may be up to 80% in severe cases of yellow fever. Regarding its agent factor, yellow fever is viral infection. The disease is caused by group B arbovirus, Flavivirus febricus. This virus belongs to the family Togaviridae. Reservoirs of infection for yellow fever, it differs in the forest areas and in urban areas. In forest areas, the reservoirs mainly includes monkeys and forest or wild mosquitoes, whereas in urban areas, the reservoir is mainly man, that is subclinical cases or clinical cases of yellow fever. Yellow fever is communicable during initial 3 to 4 days of illness. This virus requires 8 to 12 days for its development inside the vector mosquito, and the vector mosquito shows transovarial transmission. Infection of yellow fever can be seen in males as well as in females and in all age groups. As far as occupation is concerned, particularly the woodcutters and hunters, they are having higher risk of exposure. As far as environmental factors are concerned, the temperature range above 24 degrees Celsius and relative humidity above 60% is required for the development of this virus inside the vector mosquito. There are 3 cycles of transmission: jungle cycle, intermediate cycle and urban cycle. Jungle cycle, it is also known as sylvatic cycle, or we can call it as sylvatic or jungle yellow fever. In these areas, monkeys are infected by wild mosquitoes. How human acquires infection? When human enters into the forest, the wild mosquitoes transmit yellow fever virus to the humans. In intermediate yellow fever or intermediate cycle, semi-domestic mosquitoes, they are responsible for infecting both monkeys as well as humans. The transmission mainly occurs due to increased contact of man to the mosquitoes. In urban yellow fever or urban cycle, the infected mosquitoes, they transmit the virus from person to person, and there is possibility that large epidemic may occur if the infected people, they introduce the virus into densely populated areas, and if susceptible population is present in that area, or if vector is abundantly present in that area, if such situations are present, epidemics of yellow fever can occur. Incubation period of yellow fever is 3 to 6 days, but the incubation period of 6 days is recognized by international health regulations. Clinically, severe cases may develop hemorrhagic manifestations. There can be albuminuria, anuria, shock, or even comatose condition may be produced, and case fatality rate is higher. There is no specific treatment for yellow fever. Only supportive care is given, and the main aim of supportive care is to treat dehydration and fever. Antibiotics are used if bacterial infections are associated with yellow fever. Control of jungle yellow fever is difficult, but jungle yellow fever as well as urban yellow fever, it can be controlled by using vaccination strategy, and here we use the vaccine 17D. Now this vaccine, it is given subcutaneously. Its dose is single dose 0.5 ml and the site of administration is area of deltoid region. But remember, this vaccine should not be given to children below 9 months of age, pregnant women, specifically if there is outbreak of yellow fever, those people with severe allergies to egg protein, and the persons with severe immunodeficiency. For controlling yellow fever, vaccination strategy should be combined with vector control. You know the vector, the name of vector is Aedes aegypti mosquito. So it is very important to control this mosquito, and mosquito can be controlled by anti-larval measures, anti-adult measures, and the most important is source reduction. What is meaning of source reduction? It means elimination of breeding places of mosquito. For source reduction, it is essential for us to understand what different places are preferred by Aedes mosquito for its breeding. So the key word that you must remember regarding breeding of Aedes mosquito, it is stored water or artificially collected water. So whatever water is stored artificially by the people in containers, or even if it is naturally collected in the coconut shells or tires, at such places attention should be paid. The anti-larval measures should focus on controlling the larvae of Aedes mosquito. For this we can use different mineral oils, and we can use Paris green. Anti-adult measures, they mainly focus on controlling the adult mosquitoes in the environment. For this we can use indoor residual spraying or space spraying. In addition, it is important to pay attention to personal protection by using mosquito repellent coils, and most important, by using mosquito nets. The vaccination strategy and vector control strategy must be combined with surveillance. There are 4 types of surveillance conducted in relation to yellow fever. It includes clinical surveillance, serological surveillance, histopathological surveillance, and most important is entomological surveillance. Now regarding surveillance of Aedes aegypti mosquito, the WHO, that is World Health Organization, uses one important index known as Aedes aegypti index, and this index should not be more than 1%. For controlling yellow fever at international level, it is important to follow the regulations recommended by World Health Organizations, which includes international health regulations. Under these regulations, the travelers which are traveling to yellow fever endemic areas and again traveling to areas which are receptive. So if they are traveling from endemic areas to yellow fever receptive areas, they must have valid certificate of vaccination of yellow fever. In addition, it is important to control the vector mosquito, specifically at airports and seaports. So the area of 400 meters around the airports and seaports, they must have Aedes aegypti index below 1. Regarding validity of the certificate of vaccination, as per the new amendment implemented from 11th July 2016, the validity is lifetime. For epidemic preparedness and response, every country, at-risk country, must have its own national laboratory to perform the test, and the confirmed cases must be investigated thoroughly. And for elimination of yellow fever epidemic, World Health Organization has suggested I strategy. Eye strategy has three important strategic objectives, which mainly includes protection of people which are at risk of yellow fever, prevention of international spread of yellow fever, and rapid containment of outbreak of yellow fever. So it's all about yellow fever. Thanks for watching this video.